Beloved child, listen deeply in the silence of your soul, for I am calling you to step into a new season, not like the old seasons you once walked through with the weariness and anxieties of the flesh, but a season in which my light is touching the deepest layers of your heart. There are doors I am closing, not to take anything away from you, but to keep you from returning to the dark places that once wore down your soul. There are also doors I am opening very gently, and only those who remain close to me can hear the hinges of heaven beginning to move. You have prayed for change for so long, but now I tell you that what I desire to give you is not merely a new circumstance, but a new heart. For if the soul still carries old chains, you will bring yesterday's pain into tomorrow. That is why I am doing a work deeper than what your eyes can see. I am touching the roots of the things that have caused you to become exhausted in secret many times. Many nights, you thought you had lost your worth because of your moments of weakness. But I have never looked at you with eyes of rejection. When the world sees only mistakes, I still see the seed of glory that I placed within you from the very beginning. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. As Ezekiel 36:26 says, is not a promise for perfect people, but for souls who have grown weary from trying to save themselves. I know there are parts of you that have lived for far too long under the shadow of fear. There are memories you have never told anyone. There are wounds that still quietly bleed whenever night falls. But my child, I did not enter your life to expose you to shame. I entered it to heal what you had hopelessly believed would never be healed again. Just as the shepherd leaves the 99 to search for the one lost sheep in the dark night, I also enter the deepest hidden places of your heart to bring you home, not because you are strong, but because my love has never stopped searching for you. Remember Jacob on the night he wrestled by the river Jabbok. He entered that night in fear, carrying a past full of deception and guilt. But when dawn came, he walked out with a new name. I did not destroy him because of his years of wandering. I renewed him through a sacred encounter. And beloved child, what I did with Jacob, I am also doing with you. This season may make you feel as though you are being broken, but often the very place of breaking is where the light can enter most easily. Do not be afraid of what I am stripping away from your life. There are things you once held on to, thinking they were life, when in truth, they were only burdens that kept your soul from rising in freedom. I am teaching you to release what no longer belongs to your new season. And even though that letting go may sometimes hurt you, I am still there, gently holding every trembling piece of your heart. You have grown too used to hiding your tears behind a smile, too used to saying, I am fine, while inside you are running dry. But before me, you no longer need to play the role of the strong one. I do not love you because you are always right. I love you because you are you. Even when you collapse in faith, I still sit beside the place where your soul is weeping. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out. As Isaiah 42:3 says, is what I want you to remember whenever you feel too weak to continue. I do not treat you with the coldness of the world. I do not cast you away simply because you need to be restored. What I have begun in your life, I will complete by my grace. Then there will come days when you realize that holiness is not about trying to become someone who never makes mistakes, but about learning to remain so close to me that your heart begins to reflect my light naturally. Holiness is not an outer garment worn to impress the world. It is the quiet fragrance of a soul that has been touched by heavenly love. And it is in that closeness that the old things will gradually fall away from you, like withered leaves, leaving the branch at the end of a season. The thoughts that once imprisoned you will lose their power. The temptations that once weakened your heart will no longer rule your soul as they did before. Not because you become perfect overnight, but because my presence is slowly transforming you from within. Beloved child, There will come a day when you yourself will realize that you are no longer the person who first stepped into this season of cleansing. You will look back on the old days like a distant dream, where your soul once lived in fear, in weariness, and in invisible chains that you had grown far too accustomed to carrying. But when I complete my work within you, the breath of heaven will be present in every word you speak. Others will sense the gentleness in your eyes, not because you have learned how to appear peaceful, but because my peace has truly come to dwell within your soul. Your steps will no longer carry the weight of despair, because my love will become the strength that upholds you each day, and your life will be a living testimony that I am still healing broken hearts, still renewing weary souls, still calling light to rise in the darkest places. Therefore, do not fear the change through which I am leading you. The most frightening thing is not having to leave what is familiar, but remaining forever in a place where your soul is slowly dying because of stagnation. A river remains clear only when it continues to flow. When water stands still for too long, it becomes cloudy. Your soul is the same. If you keep clinging to your safe place simply because you fear losing control, you will gradually lose the life I have placed within you. But if you dare to trust me, if you dare to follow my calling, even when you cannot yet see the full path ahead, you will bloom in places you never thought you could survive. Behold, I will do a new thing, now it shall spring forth. As Isaiah 43:19 says, is not only a promise for my people in ancient days, but also the word I am whispering to you in this very season. I am not drawing you out of darkness merely so that you may exist. I am drawing you out so that you may live abundantly in my light. There are things within your heart that have hardened through the years, disappointments that were never healed, wounds that made you afraid to open your heart as you once did, shattered dreams that caused you to stop hoping. But, beloved child, I have not forgotten any part of your soul. I see even the places that you yourself no longer have the strength to touch. And now, I am asking you to give me permission to enter those places. Let me remove from you the stones of bitterness, shame, and fear that have blocked the stream of living water. Let me rewrite the pages of your life that you once blurred with tears and mistakes. For I am the God of restoration. No broken piece is too sharp for my hands. No past is too damaged for me to renew. Remember Peter after the night he denied me 3 times. He once thought he had lost everything after that failure. The crowing of the rooster was not only the sound of weakness being exposed, but also the moment his soul broke before the truth about himself. But I did not leave Peter in shame. After the resurrection, I called him back beside the sea. And I did not ask him first about his failure, I asked him about his love. For I wanted him to understand that grace is stronger than falling. And that same man who once trembled in fear later became a strong rock for many other souls. Beloved child, I will do the same with you. The place you thought had ended your life may be the very place where I begin a new chapter filled with greater glory. Every season in your life carries a sacred purpose. There are seasons when I let you learn patience. There are seasons when I teach you how to trust in silence. But there will come a time when what once nourished you in the past is no longer enough for the present. A child cannot keep wearing the clothes of early childhood and step into maturity. I am also removing the old garment from your soul. There are ways of thinking that once helped you survive, but now they are keeping you from stepping deeper into the destiny I have prepared for you. There are relationships that once brought comfort, but now only keep you bound to a smaller version of yourself. That is why I allow shaking to happen, not to destroy you, but to awaken you from stagnation. Just as a farmer must plow the field after the harvest, I am also plowing your heart. The harder the soil, the deeper the plow must go. Therefore, do not think that the upheavals you are going through are a sign that I have abandoned you. It is precisely in the days when everything seems overturned that I am preparing room for new seeds from heaven to be planted. The soil is not broken open in order to die, but in order to bear more fruit. Your soul is the same. There are losses that make you feel empty, but that emptiness is often the very place I desire to fill with my presence. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone, but if it dies, it bears much fruit. As John 12:24 says, "Some things must come to an end, so that a greater life may be born." This season is also a season of fire, not the fire of destruction, but the fire of truth and grace. Before I fill the vessel, I must cleanse away the residue still clinging inside. Before I entrust you with something greater, I must remove the things that are quietly poisoning your soul. Purification always makes the flesh uncomfortable, because it strips away what is false. But, beloved child, do not confuse purification with rejection. The refiner only places into the fire what he considers precious. If I am correcting you, shaping you, and calling you deeper, that is evidence that my hand is still upon your life. For the Lord disciplines the one he loves. As Hebrews 12:6 says, "True love does not leave a soul in the condition that is slowly causing it to wither." Therefore, step into this new season with humility and trust. Do not only ask me to change your circumstances, allow me to transform you. When your soul is renewed, you will see everything with different eyes. What once frightened you will no longer rule over you. What once made you despair will become a testimony of my faithfulness. And one day, when you stand in the harvest I have prepared, you will understand that not a single tear has fallen in vain. Every plow, every flame, every painful season has been quietly forming a new person within you, a soul that reflects my image more clearly, stronger in faith, softer in love, and more radiant in the midst of this darkened world. Beloved child, I am going deeper into your soul in this season. I am not only touching outward actions, but reaching the very roots of what moves you to live, to love, to serve, and to walk forward. There were things you once did that appeared very beautiful on the outside, yet deep within, they were still mixed with quiet longings to be recognized, noticed, and seen as worthy by others. I do not condemn you for this, because I know your heart grew up in a world that always made you believe you had to prove yourself in order to deserve love. But now, I am gently purifying your motives, so that your soul no longer lives for the gaze of people, but for my presence. I want you to learn how to do what is right even when no one applauds. How to love even when love is not returned. How to remain faithful in the secret place where only I can see. Your Father, who sees in secret, will reward you. As Matthew 6:4 says, there are rewards that do not come from the cheers of the world, but from the deep peace of a soul that knows it is pleasing me. Then I am also purifying your obedience. I do not want you merely to carry the appearance of someone who belongs to me while your heart still remains far away. There are many souls who know how to say the right words and do the right things. Yet inside, they are exhausted because everything has become only a duty. I am not calling you into a relationship built on force or pressure. I want your obedience to be born from love, just as a child runs to embrace his father not out of fear, but because he knows he is loved. I also want you to draw near to me with such a willing and tender heart. This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. As Mark 7:6 says, is a warning for those who keep only an outward spiritual appearance while forgetting true closeness with me. For what I seek is not only your actions, but the heart behind those actions. There are relationships around you that I am also touching in this season. You once thought that everyone who entered your life would walk with you to the end of the road. But beloved child, Not everyone I allow you to meet is meant to remain forever. Some people come to teach you a lesson. Some come to help you grow during a certain stage. And some leave because the new journey I am calling you into no longer aligns with them. Do not grieve too deeply when I begin to separate you from connections that are keeping your soul dependent on people more than on me. If a relationship causes you to lose your peace, draws you away from my voice, and makes you live by the fear of losing it rather than by faith, then it has become a chain and is no longer a blessing. I do not cut away to make you lonely. I cut away so that your soul may be free. Remember Abraham when I called him to leave his homeland. I did not show him the entire road ahead. I only told him to walk, and it was in that very separation that I formed a new nation. Therefore, beloved child, do not fear the season of change through which I am leading you. Do not run away when I touch the most painful places in your heart. The potter never abandons the vessel simply because it is still misshapen on the wheel. On the contrary, the potter's hands become even more patient when the vessel has not yet taken form. So it is with me and you. I am reshaping what has gone crooked, softening what has grown hardened, and pouring life into the places that were once dry. Perhaps today you cannot yet see the full beauty of what I am doing, but the time will come when you look back and understand that every cleansing was a sign of love. For I am not preparing you for destruction, but for glory. I am not taking you through the fire to consume you, but to burn away the chains that have held your soul for far too long. Walk with me still, little by little, in gentleness and trust. When you are weary, lean on me. When you are confused, let my word guide your mind. And when you feel that you no longer have the strength to change, remember that the power to renew does not lie in your own effort, but in my Spirit who lives within you, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit. As Zechariah 8:4-6 says, I am calling you to step out of the old self and put on a new light. I am leading you into a season where your soul will no longer live in shame, no longer run away from love, no longer bow its head beneath the past. And then you will understand that this season of holy transformation is not only the end of the old self, but also the dawn of a soul that is truly alive. Beloved child, there are seasons in life when I no longer allow your soul to remain forever in the same place. Not because I have stopped loving you in your present condition, but because my love is too great to let you continue sleeping in the very things that are quietly causing the light within you to fade. A seed cannot remain forever inside its shell and still expect to become a great tree. It must accept being broken open in the darkness of the soil. It must allow the old to dissolve so that new life can rise. So it is with you. If you keep clinging tightly to the things I have already desired to close, your heart will have no room left for what heaven is preparing. There are people you once considered a place of refuge, but the longer you walked with them, the farther your soul drifted from my peace. There are habits that seemed harmless on the surface, yet day by day, they have been dimming your spiritual sight. And there are also dreams you once held onto with all your heart, but deep within, you know they were born from fear, lack, or the longing to be recognized, not from my calling. Therefore, do not blame me when I begin to loosen from your hands the things you once held very tightly. A good father does not give a sharp knife to a child simply because the child cries to keep it. I am the same. There are things I take away not to leave you empty, but to save your soul from what would wound you more deeply later on. Remember Abraham when I called him to offer Isaac on Mount Moriah. What I desired was not only the sacrifice on the altar, but a heart willing to place me above even the most precious thing. And when Abraham opened his hands in obedience, I did not only preserve his son for him, I also opened an everlasting covenant for his descendants. Beloved child, many times, What is holding you back from the new season is not something evil, but something you love too much. There are old blessings that will become chains if you place them above me. That is why I am teaching you the art of holy surrender, not surrender in bitterness, but in trust. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will act. As Psalm 37:5 says, when you stop trying to control everything with your weary hands, you will begin to see my power move in the very places you once thought were lost. Then there will come a time when I lead you through the fire of purification, and you will wonder why everything inside you seems to be melting. But my child, that is not the fire of wrath. It is the fire of heavenly love, cleansing your soul. The refiner of gold is not afraid of the fire becoming too hot, because he knows that only when gold passes through the fire do the impurities rise to the surface and get removed. I am doing the same with you. There are painful memories that have clung to your mind for far too long. There are insults, failures, and betrayals that you have silently carried as though they were part of your identity. But I did not create you to live forever under the shadow of the past. The fire of my spirit is entering those hidden places to heal what has decayed within. And even when you sometimes feel pain as I touch the places you once tried to hide, remember that a physician must touch the wound in order to cleanse it. Do not be afraid when my light shines into the hidden corners of your heart. What you call breaking is often only the hard shell falling away so that your true heart can live again. There are souls that have grown so used to living in numbness that when healing begins, they mistake it for pain. But only what is still alive can feel the touch of the holy fire. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. As Malachi 3:3 says, I do not abandon you in that fire. I sit close to your soul every moment. I see every tear that falls in the night. I hear even the prayers you have not yet been able to speak aloud. And when everything false has been burned away, you will realize that you have not lost yourself. But for the first time, you have truly found yourself in me. Therefore, this season is not merely about changing a few outward actions so that people may see you differently. I am not looking for a moral appearance. I desire a renewed heart. Holiness is not only about staying away from darkness, but about allowing my light to live so powerfully within you that darkness no longer has any place to dwell in you. Many people try to become better by their own strength, yet their souls remain exhausted from having to wear the mask of perfection. I am not calling you into that pretense. I want your very nature to be transformed from within. When my living water flows through your soul, goodness will no longer be a burden you must force yourself to carry. It will become the natural breath of a soul that has drawn near to me. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. As 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, this is not a promise reserved for some distant day, but the very work I am beginning in you even now. I know there is still a part of you that trembles before change. You fear that if you let go of what is familiar, you will be alone. You fear that if you abandon the old, you will have nothing left to hold on to. Beloved child, there will also be times when I call you to leave familiar places, not because I want to take every familiar thing away from you, but because I want you to discover that true safety is not found in places or people, but in me. Do not confuse being set apart with being abandoned. There are seasons when I draw you away from the crowd so that your soul will no longer be governed by the noise of the world. When Elijah hid in the cave amid weariness and disappointment, I did not speak to him through the great wind or the earthquake, but through a still, gentle whisper. I am also bringing you into a place of quietness so that you may hear my voice more clearly than the voice of your fear. This season of purification will not always feel pleasant. It is like fire touching gold, causing every impurity to rise to the surface. And at times, you may be surprised to see emotions you thought had disappeared rising up more strongly than ever before. You may see old anger, old pain, and old wounds suddenly appear, but do not be ashamed of that. When a physician cleanses a wound, the infected areas must be opened before healing can come. I am doing the same with your soul. The places you once avoided, the memories you once locked away, the fears you never dared to name, I am bringing them all into the light, not to condemn you, but to set you free. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. As John 1:5 says, darkness only has power when it remains hidden. Then there will be days when you wonder why everything seems to have become more difficult since you decided to draw closer to me. But my child, anything that is about to leave your life will resist before it lets go. When a farmer pulls weeds out by the roots, the ground must tremble. When I uproot the old dependencies from your soul, you will feel that same shaking. Do not be afraid of that sense of instability. It is not a sign that I have abandoned you, but evidence that I am freeing you from what once held you captive. There are words you once used to defend yourself, actions you once performed only to be accepted, fears that quietly controlled every decision you made. I am removing them from your life, little by little. If someone leaves during this season, do not desperately cling to them. If something collapses, do not try to use your weary hands to rebuild what I am taking down. Remember that not every closed door is a loss. There are doors I close because there is no longer any life behind them. Beloved child, whatever truly belongs to you in my will cannot be taken away. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. As James 1:17 says, what comes from me will carry peace with it, even if it must pass through trials. What comes from the world often begins with excitement but ends in exhaustion. Therefore, let me continue the work I am doing in you. Do not fear the refining fire. Do not fear the shaking, and do not fear the silence of the season of being set apart. After all these things, your soul will be lighter, purer, and freer. You will no longer live driven by the need to be accepted by others. You will stop chasing after things that do not truly nourish your soul. And one day, when you look back, you will understand that everything I took away was only a layer hiding the true beauty I placed within you from the very beginning. Beloved child, in this season, I am not only changing the circumstances around you, but also building within you a foundation that will not be easily shaken. There are souls who are faithful only when the sky is calm. But I am calling you to become one who still stands firm, even when the winds rise and the fire surrounds you. For only the one who has learned to remain in me through trials can become a shelter for others on the day they are weary. I am forging within you a holy steadfastness, not the hardness of the flesh, but the gentle strength of a soul that knows to whom it belongs. The world teaches you to chase your emotions, but I am teaching you to cling to my promise. For emotions change like the waves of the sea, filled with hope today but able to sink into fear tomorrow. But my word does not change. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our God stands forever. As Isaiah 40:8 says, when everything around you trembles, my word will become the rock beneath your feet. I know there are days when you do not feel me near. There are nights when your prayers seem only to echo into silent emptiness. But beloved child, do not measure my presence by temporary feelings. There are times when I am doing the deepest work in your life precisely when you cannot see anything at all. Remember Joseph in prison. He did not see the door open for many years. He did not see my plan amid betrayal and being forgotten. But day by day in that darkness, I was quietly shaping his character for the throne ahead. If I had given him authority too soon, his unhealed wounds and pride could have destroyed him. So it is with you. There are things I have not yet given, not because I am rejecting you, but because I am preparing you to be steady enough to carry what I am about to entrust to you. I am teaching you to recognize my voice among the countless voices of the world. There are voices urging you to live by fear. There are voices making you think your worth depends on how others perceive you. But my voice always leads you back to peace, even when the road ahead is still unclear. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. As John 10:27 says, I no longer want you to live guided by the noise around you. I want you to learn how to pause in the midst of chaos and listen to the heartbeat of heaven. For when your soul becomes truly familiar with my voice, you will no longer be easily shaken by judgments or temporary upheavals. Do not fear the fire I allow to pass through your life in this season. My grace does not avoid the fire. My grace walks with you through the fire. When the 3 Hebrews were thrown into the fiery furnace because they refused to bow before the idol, the fire did not consume them. On the contrary, right there in the middle of the furnace, people saw another one walking with them. Beloved child, that is also what I want you to understand. You will never have to go through trials alone. The fire may make you cry. It may cause the layers of pride, fear, and doubt within you to ache as they are stripped away. But that fire has not been sent to destroy you. It has been sent to burn away what has been hiding, my light within you. And when those layers fall away, your soul will reflect my image more clearly than ever before. Every tear you have shed in secret has not been in vain. I have seen every time you chose silence instead of retaliation, forgiveness instead of nurturing bitterness, prayer instead of giving up. You do not know that each of those choices has been weakening the old chains within your soul. Forgiveness is not saying that what others did to you was right. Forgiveness is refusing to let their darkness continue living inside your heart. And every time you lay down resentment, you are stepping closer to the freedom I have prepared for you. Then the day will come when you look back on this season of purification and understand that what I allowed to happen was not meant to take your life away, but to save your soul from things smaller than your true destiny. You will realize that what I took away cannot compare with what I have prepared to give back. The fire did not destroy you, it rebirthed you. The parts within you that were once broken will no longer be signs of shame, but will become the very places where my light shines through most powerfully. Just as the art of kintsugi uses gold to mend a cracked vessel, I am using my glory to heal your soul. And then the place that was once a wound will become a testimony. The place that once made you cry will become a source of comfort for those who are lost in darkness. Just as you once were, this is also a season of restoration. I am breathing new breath into the places within you that had withered because of disappointment and delay. There are dreams you buried deep because you thought they had died. There are parts of your heart that stopped hoping because they had been hurt too many times. But I am the God who makes dry bones live again. When the prophet Ezekiel saw the valley full of dry bones, everything seemed completely finished. But the moment my breath passed through, the bones began to come together. Flesh came upon them, and life returned. But hear me clearly. Beloved child, no one has ever lost anything for my sake, and, in the end, become empty. When I take away an empty vessel, it is because I want to place living water into your hands. When I close a door, it is because ahead of you there is a wider path that your eyes have not yet seen. Do not look at loss through the eyes of the flesh. Some things leaving your life are not punishment, but deliverance. And then you will understand that what I have prepared for you cannot be decayed by time, cannot be stolen by people, and cannot be destroyed by darkness. Let your hands open before me. Let your soul stop resisting the flow of the Spirit. For after this season of cleansing, you will no longer be the person who once lived in shame, fear, and exhaustion. I am leading you into a freedom that no chain can hold, into a peace that the world cannot take away. And when you step out of that refining fire, you will shine brightly like gold that has been purified, carrying within you the beauty of a soul that has learned to trust me more than its own fear. Beloved child, do not turn your face away from my light simply because you are afraid to see what is hidden deep within your soul. My light is not like the judging gaze of the world. The world exposes in order to condemn, but I shine my light in order to heal. I do not enter the dark places of your heart to shame you. I enter like dawn, passing through a room that has been closed for far too long, so that the warmth of life may touch the place that was once coldest and loneliest. There are pains you have hidden so carefully that even you have forgotten they are still quietly controlling your thoughts and emotions. There are memories you have covered with a smile, with busyness, with the appearance of strength, yet I still hear the cry of your soul in the late hours of the night. And now, I am gently calling you to stop running, for the more you allow me to touch the truth within, the lighter your burden becomes. The more courageously you face what you once feared, the closer you step toward the freedom I have prepared for you long ago. Remember the Samaritan woman at the well in days past. She had grown used to living behind layers of concealment and unfinished stories. But when I met her under the noon sun, I did not begin with condemnation. I began with an invitation. Whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst again. I touched the truth in her life, not to crush her, but to open a stream of living water that had never flowed through her soul before. And, beloved child, I am doing the same with you. I know there are parts of you that still carry shame, still fearing that if others were to see your true self completely, they would leave you. But my grace truly works most powerfully in a soul that has stopped pretending. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. As John 8:32 says, healing does not begin when you appear perfect. It begins when you become honest enough to tell me where you are hurting. There will be people who do not understand the change I am working in you. They are used to the old version of you, the version that always tried to blend in with the crowd, always yielded to the voice of the world in order to be accepted. But when the light begins to grow within your soul, the darkness around you will become uncomfortable. Perhaps they will say, you have changed too much. Perhaps they will call your awakening extreme. But my child, a seed cannot remain forever beneath the soil if it was born to rise into a great tree. The transformation I am carrying out is not a rebellion against the world. It is the journey of bringing you back to the true self I ordained before you ever cried your first cry. Whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. As Matthew 16:25 says, when you stop trying to preserve the old version built from fear and the need to please others, you will begin to find the true person created in my light. Then I will teach you things the world cannot teach. I will teach you to listen with the ears of your soul, so that amid the thousands of noises around you, you will still recognize my voice. Just as a shepherd recognizes the call of his own flock, I will teach you to see with the eyes of faith, so that even when your circumstances have not yet changed, your heart can still remain steady in hope. There are seasons when I do not immediately calm the storm around you, because I am forming within you a peace stronger than the sound of the winds outside. When the disciples panicked in the raging sea, I was sleeping peacefully in the boat, not because I did not see the storm, but because I knew the power of the Father was greater than the violent waves. And beloved child, I want your soul to learn that same peace, the peace that does not depend on everything being perfect, but comes from knowing that I am still with you in every circumstance. There will be days when you walk only by my promise, not by your feelings. There will be days when your eyes do not yet see anything changing. But I still want you to keep sowing hope, keep loving, keep praying, and keep trusting. For true faith is not built upon what the eyes can see, but upon my faithful nature. The righteous shall live by faith, As Romans 1:17 says, I am teaching you how to stand firm, even while your heart is still trembling. I am teaching you how to keep tenderness in a world that is growing colder. I am teaching you how to smile, not because every wound has disappeared, but because you know you no longer have to carry them alone. Do not think holiness is a chain that steals the joy from your life. Holiness is the doorway that leads you into true freedom. A bird is not free when it flies into a storm simply because it enjoys the feeling of rebellion. It is truly free when it flies according to the current of wind it was created for. So it is with your soul. When you walk in obedience, you are not being imprisoned. You are being protected from the things that could destroy the light within you. The narrow path may sometimes make you feel alone, but it is that very path that leads to eternal life. And then the day will come when you look back and realize that everything I asked you to surrender was only a temporary shadow compared with the glory I had prepared. Therefore, beloved child, it is time for you to take off the old garment of fear, shame, and weariness. Step out of the familiar land where your soul has taken shelter for far too long. I am calling you into a new season, a season in which I will wash the old traces from your soul like the first rain of the season, washing dust from a dry field. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. As Ezekiel 36:26 says, I am renewing you from within, not merely so that you may look better before the eyes of people, but so that the light of heaven may truly live within you. And then, when others look into your eyes, they will no longer see only the wounds or weariness that once weighed heavily upon you. They will see a peace that does not belong to this world. They will see hope still burning in the darkness. They will see my own light reflected through your life, gentle, powerful, and impossible to extinguish. My child, many times I do not show you the whole road, because I want you to learn to trust my presence more than the certainty of circumstances. And remember this, peace is the compass of heaven. When your soul is in the place where I want it to be, there will be a deep stillness within, even when everything outside remains chaotic. But when you begin to drift away from what I have prepared for you, your heart will lose that rest. Therefore, do not only ask what is right according to reason. Listen for my peace within your heart. As it is written in Colossians 3:15, let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts,